Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Smackdown review with us, the British Fist.
Go, Jay.
The British Fist, indeed, consisting of Mr. Parkin here, wearing my Cody Rhodes t-shirt, once again for you guys, and this guy sitting next to me is the one and only saviour of YouTube, it's NJ.
What's up?
Hallelujah. Subscribe above, like this video, comment your thoughts down below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the box below.
I wonder if Duke THS will remix that, you know what I mean? There we go. So this week's edition of Friday Night Smackdown, we open up with Sheamus wants to kick Del Rio's rear end, and money can't buy you the World Heavyweight Championship. Well, I think if you go on WWE.com, you can buy the World Heavyweight Championship for about what, $300?
Pretty much. And the thing about this is that it's the right person to open because with Sheamus obviously trying to make some meaning to this temporary feud, he needs to come out and start doing it. Because we know Del Rio's not always the best on mic at cutting promos that means something apart from repeating himself. So using Sheamus to do the job for him, or most of the work for him, was the right thing to do.
David Otunga then comes out for some ungodly... Why is David Otunga involved in an opener on SmackDown? I just... You know, just still talking about that accidental bump and giving Johnny Ace an apology. I just don't get why you can't have a segment between Sheamus and Del Rio, two guys that are feuding going into No Way Out. Why'd you have to get David Otunga involved in this? It has nothing to do with it.
So at the end of the day, it did kind of make sense by the end of the promo because Otunga actually gave Del Rio the privilege to give Sheamus his match up for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Del Rio obviously gets his own match, and Del Rio didn't really get much reaction in this opener, did he? And one thing, you know, he calls Sheamus a peasant and hooligan, etc. And that was some good stuff. But then you have Sheamus bro kicking Otunga, and it's like, is Del Rio ever going to be allowed to get any heat in this feud? Is Del Rio ever going to come out on top? Are they ever going to book him as a legit heel that we can maybe think could actually beat Sheamus? Because at the moment, not seeing that at all by WWE's booking.
Well, I don't really think Del Rio is going to be a top wrestler after this feud. I think after this feud, they're going to probably bring him down a few steps and rebuild him up again. But I think the main concentration here is giving Sheamus yet another win, another push towards whatever's going to come next.
And Sheamus will win the match at No Way Out, of course, and he will get a prolonged title run. And I think it's a shame that a guy like Del Rio, who had so much promise, is now really kind of looking like a mid-carder to me. Do you know what I mean? I don't see main eventer in Del Rio anymore. I see a guy that gets very little reaction, gets no real attempt to get any heel heat, and just isn't the guy we thought he once was. And it's probably due to the fact that they didn't make him win at WrestleMania 27, and he's just been booked like shit. It
is really sad that Del Rio was a guy who could see going straight to the main event, straight to the top, straight as a top heel and that. The booking after WrestleMania started to go downhill. Now we're coming down to this. He's trying to get the title again, and he's not going to win.
Exactly, and it's not believable. So there you go. It's predictable. After the opener, Cara versus Heath Slater. I must admit, it's nice to see Cara back. I did like his red attire. But the only trouble is, I felt that his return, it was a very underwhelming return in my opinion. He's still botching. He still can't do the Mystica. And he didn't get as big a reaction as I thought he might do. A guy as popular as him with the SmackDown audience.
There wasn't much of a reaction, but the moves in the ring, he had a few botches, but I was entertained to see him back, seeing that he can still move in the ring in some way. And he beat Heath Slater, so it's going to go on. Yeah, we'll go get a few jobs and that, but hopefully, with him returning and rebuilding back up, hopefully they'll have some idea on where to put him next.
Yeah, negative point of this segment, Heath Slater was in it. Positive point of this segment, Sin Cara does offer something different to the SmackDown brand with his style of wrestling, and it is nice to see some variety on the show with Sin Cara. I hope soon that if they are going to push him, they put him in some kind of feud, but this doesn't involve Hunico. Damien Sandow had a match next. I must admit, this segment to me wasn't as good as I thought it was because they didn't have him go on the mic. Because the guy is fantastic on the mic and cuts a great promo, and they didn't even really allow him to have that much mic time in this segment. And it's just disappointing me that they're not allowing him that in this segment like they did before. That's the one thing that really entertained me about the Damien Sandow character.
The thing that let me down about this segment is that Pink Pants went through the whole, I'm not facing you. He's always said that. He's already had his opponents. So why are you saying, oh, I'm going to face
Ezekiel Jackson?
Ziggler Jackson, but at the same time, you faced Yoshi last week. It's like saying, Yoshi's better than you, Zeke. I'm just thinking that was just stupid, and the match was pretty short, so this whole segment, there really weren't much to it. And mainly part is that Damien Sandow, at the moment, I'm still thinking he needs to keep proving himself, and it's still early days.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion. I love that line from Damien Sandow. It was a squash match. Damien Sandow. Ryback was in another squash match this week, guys. He was against TLJ, the tag team I like to call Two Local Jobbers. A very popular tag team involving Ryback right now. And I must admit, the presentation is still good. I still like what they're doing with him, but they need to progress him. You know, they've had him go up against some WWE superstars. They need to have him go against more and get progressively better and better and better if we're really gonna believe the sort of, the build for this guy. He's gonna build up to a top guy.
For you people who missed Ryback's last match, here's a replay for you.
It's pretty much a replay, guys, but there we go. He looks strong. He's gonna be a main eventer sooner or later. So we'll see the results once Vince tries to get him over as much as he will. We had a Raw rebound. I think this is a good time to sort of comment on the fact that Raw got a 2.7. Despite being a Memorial Day Raw, I think the fact that they got a 2.7 really does show no one really cares about the main event storyline, because you had the whole show focused around Big Show, and this was going to be a real indication to see if someone like Big Show could draw, and but without Cena on the show, the Raw could get some kind of rating. A 2.7, incredibly disappointing.
Sadly, as I've said many times, this Big Show heel turn, yes, he's back as a heel, but this particular heel turn hasn't been the best, not really built up. Maybe the match against Cena will change up. This Raw has shown that Big Show is not someone that the WWE can rely on for ratings.
Exactly, and no one really is interested in him going against Cena again. It's just typical stale WWE right now in this time of year. The hour main event, Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler. This was a match I was actually quite looking forward to, because you had Dolph Ziggler who's saying that he wants to proclaim himself, that he's a superstar, that he wants to move on from Jack Swagger. And I liked how at the beginning of the segment, Ziggler took the mic away from Vicky and said, I'm going after Sheamus, da-da-da-da-da. And in my opinion, it's a real shame that Orton got suspended for 60 days, because I think having Ziggler go up against Orton would have been a nice feud for someone like Ziggler, who really does need some more high-profile feuds. And I do wonder, what are they going to do with Dolph Ziggler now? Making feud with Swagger? That's really fucked things up a little bit, isn't it, for SmackDown and Ziggler?
That's true. There's two things I had to do. Before I watched SmackDown, before we did this review, I had to check the area to make sure Joseph Parks weren't here. Because, these things happen to Randy Orton. Maybe they're going to get lawyers involved thinking, no, I don't deserve this, I took no drugs. So I had to check if he was around. But this match, yes, Dolph Ziggler is against a top wrestler. Yeah. Good move for Dolph Ziggler. But the thing is, his original opponent was going to be Orton. Look how that badly went. So I'm glad they're keeping him up there. But it looks like maybe at the pay-per-view, he may have to take a step down and possibly play someone like a Swagger just to fill up something. So there's a match at the pay-per-view. It's
very true. And do you see a main eventer in Dolph Ziggler, NJ? Because I really don't. I don't see Dolph Ziggler being a guy that could really flourish in the main event scene. A lot of people do based on his wrestling ability, but does he really have the package to be a main event guy? Do you think that, NJ?
Eventually, I do see that happening, because if they keep building him up, because now he's got the tag team thing, he's done all this stuff, he's built himself up to a wrestler that it is about time maybe should get a main event deal, title deal. So I think in time they're going to keep building up against like Sheamus, Orton, and other top wrestlers. And eventually, I think he will get his chance to be in the main event / title picture eventually.
Yeah, I just never see him being any kind of champion unless he is the Money in the Bank winner. And, I think the booking pretty much backs up our point here. Swagger distracts Sheamus, and Sheamus still gets the victory. They're probably going to try and tease tension between Swagger and Ziggler, maybe. I just question the fact, why did you have Swagger come out when Del Rio is the one that's going to face Sheamus at the pay-per-view? Would you not want him maybe to try and cost him the match, maybe to give Ziggler some kind of victory to legitimize the fact that he's going to go off on a singles run? I'm just saying.
I think in this match they were trying to do two things at once. They're trying to make Sheamus look ready for Del Rio at No Way Out, and also this whole Ziggler leaving the Swagger thing. The thing is, I would not have had Swagger come down, because Swagger would want to be against Ziggler for walking out on him at the end. But whatever, the booking here was two things at once, and we'll just have to see what happens for Ziggler going up to No Way Out and beyond.
I guess they were trying to maybe tease it. I don't know. Let's just move on. Santino and Ryder versus O'Neal and Young. Isn't the US title meaningless? And the fact that WWE have had plans to combine the mid-card belts, it's kind of like, do you think that would be a good idea? Because at the moment, I'm sorry, Santino, I like Santino, but the belt on him is just meaningless, especially when he's in these stupid little tag matches which have nothing to do with a US title feud, building to any kind of pay-per-view match.
Well, there's two things I'm going to say about this. Number one, putting the mid-card belts together, making some kind of belt, as long as they keep it, either the US belt or the IC belt, no problem with that. Because the thing is, the US belt is not being used properly, it's not been meaningful, so if they got rid of it and kept concentration on one belt, more feuds, more matches, go for it. And this match, it was pretty horrible. Yes, I enjoyed seeing Santino picking up the win, great stuff. But you hear Young and O'Neal saying that they're going to be the new tag champs, they're all about the money. And this match basically proves that maybe this is just wrong for them and the WWE's book for them has been bad.
Again, terrible booking. You booked these guys to be maybe a semi-legit tag team that I felt at one point could go after the tag team championships. Then you have them lose in a minute to Santino and Ryder. It's just like, why? I just don't get. Are you not going to try and put as much heat on these guys as possible? And, you know, if WWE do combine the belts, they have such a small mid-card that maybe that is a good idea to just have one mid-card belt in such a small portion of WWE's product, which is the mid-card, which is barely written for right now, apart from if your name is Cody Rhodes or Christian. Pretty much. But Cody Rhodes had a match, though. Thank fuck for that, because this show sucked. But Cody Rhodes had a match against Tyson Kidd. Christian was on commentary. They're pretty much doing the same thing, switching it around. And I think, with me, I know me and you are both going to be interested in a Cody Rhodes-Christian feud. I'm still waiting for that kind of like big segment, which is really going to set this feud going. And at the moment, we haven't really seen it yet. They kept it relatively simple. They haven't touched, which I do think, but I'm still waiting for that big maybe promo segment or interference that is really going to set this feud going and interesting going into No Way Out.
Because at the minute, all we've really been given is Cody Rhodes on mic, really warming up how he's the better IC champion, how he feels about losing his belt, his opinion on Christian. There's not really much there apart from Cody's behalf. So hear more from Christian, maybe next week, because they're running out of time. Just do something to make this match seem a two-way sided thing. So that's the way I see it. And the other thing point about this match, it was another short match, and Smackdown was just full of short matches, and it was just horrible. Yes, Cody Rhodes facing Tyson Kidd, who's not really where he should be maybe in the WWE, but it's just full of short matches, so I really didn't care as much as I should.
I mean, the jobber match makes sense, and, you know, they're trying to put some tension. I'm still waiting for that big segment, which is really going to set me, you know, really smiling about this feud. But there we go. Main event of the evening was a WWE Championship match between CM Punk and your favourite Kane, or second favourite behind Triple H. You love them both equally, you know, whatever. You know, and there's a couple of things about this first. The first time the WWE Championship has been defended on SmackDown for 4 years. Now, does this really show you now that the brand split is pretty much dead? That you can just defend the WWE Championship, which is a Raw title, on the SmackDown show? It's just, the brand split's dead now, isn't it, essentially?
Sadly, the brand split at first was the both shows having feuds one side, feuds another. Then it kind of got messed up. And I think the reason for having the WWE Championship match on SmackDown was to give SmackDown a big drawing match instead of leaving it all on Raw. We'll have to see how the ratings come out. But this match, yes, it was a random WWE title match, because obviously Kane didn't really need this title match just yet. They could have just had CM Punk versus Kane. But overall, I'm kind of glad to see Kane in the top picture.
Of course you are. As much as I would love it if I saw Cody Rhodes in the top picture, even if he got squashed, I'd still love seeing it. But, you know, Kane now has been added to this WWE title match, as we heard from Johnny Ace after the match. Do you think this is a good move? Do you think this is WWE trying to maybe put this match here to prolong a Bryan and Punk feud? Do you think Kane is just going to be there to eat the pin in that match? I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, look at this match and think, yes, I've said along, Kane should be someone in the main event title picture. And putting him into this, it makes sense to how they build it up to this very moment in time. So him being in the match made perfect sense. But the result, I think, as sad as it's going to be, yes, Kane will be dominant in the match. He'll probably be the best one to watch out for in that match. But, joking, he'll probably be the one to take the pin and make whoever gets the pin, which will probably CM Punk maybe, the win.
Yeah, and Kane is another example of a guy that's gone Raw, SmackDown, back to Raw again. And it's kind of like, you may as well just combine the rosters now, really, with the way they're doing it. You may as well just combine the rosters and go that way. The match itself between Punk and Kane was very good. I thought this was a pretty good match. I was pretty much interested in it the whole time. AJ comes down to the ring. She's kind of like what they're adding. They're kind of trying to add something to this feud, so they're going to put AJ in there, I guess, now, the crazy psycho ex-girlfriend. And maybe this match would have come up a bit better if the whole show hadn't really bored me. Do you know what I mean? You know, like when you see a main event, you're like, it's good, but I would have liked it better if the show had a good flow to that point.
As much as that is true, because like I said, SmackDown's not been really that entertaining this week, but also the thing that my problem with the main event is that, again, I think they're trying to combine two things in one. They've got the whole Kane, CM Punk, Bryan thing going on, AJ coming in, AJ signing either CM Punk or Bryan, so you've got two things going on, and it all led to so much going on. AJ on the ring apron, so Bryan can come and attack. Them come in the ring. AJ ended up after the match, after CM Punk wins. Her sitting between both of them, thinking which one am I going to go for. It kind of got a bit messy. The match was good, but the aftermatch, I think they were just trying to combine too many things in one.
I think what you didn't see in that segment was a little picture of me in the ring, and AJ was jizzing herself. Oh, I'm having an orgasm over my picture in the ring. Thank you very much for that. But there we go. The main event was a good main event. Kane comes out on top. Pretty much the only heel that came out on top in this whole SmackDown was Kane, and possibly Sandow as well. It's disappointing that they made so many faces win tonight. How the fuck are the heels going into the pay-per-view supposed to get any heat whatsoever when the faces always fucking win? It's typical WWE Vincent McMahon babyface booking, really, isn't it?
Well, you say about the heels not really going that well on this show. Yes, Kane didn't get the win, but he did look good. Damien Sandow got the win there. Big Show, we missed to say. He got attacked and attacked
Ryder and
Santino, so he got continuous thing. But I think that would just make him heel. He didn't really have any involvement on SmackDown. It's just to give him more TV time and heel push. But overall, it really worked the best SmackDown for No Way Out.
And if you notice, guys, we didn't really talk that much about the show, and the reason why we probably missed Big Show is because we really don't care. And that is a fact. This SmackDown was really stale this week. You know, when there's only 2 feuds on a show, and you're only going to get like 2 or 3 segments that are really anything going towards a pay-per-view, the rest of it's going to be filler, and it's not going to keep your interest unless it is something, well, interesting, I'll say that. But I like the fact they're promoting the new guys. It's just that the squash matches are getting a little bit stale now. I really wish they'd move to the next level with some of these characters. The Sandow character I enjoy. The O'Neil and Young tag team is now kind of buried, really, isn't it? Ryback is getting packaged correctly, but it's still kind of like, it's just 2 local jobbers. So SmackDown is just still incredibly boring and disappointing right now. It's just, there's not much substance to the show right now, is there?
No, but they just lost Orton a few weeks before No Way Out. That was a real bash on the head for the WWE, and SmackDown suffered it from tonight. So all I can say is the WWE, you need your returns. All in 60 days. Wade Barrett, Jericho, we don't know, less than 30 days. There's so much going on. You've lost wrestlers, and I just think, what are your plans now to give us a No Way Out that is semi-good, if not a bit better?
No Way Out at the moment is looking like a pretty filler pay-per-view. And I've heard that they're probably going to have Cena work SmackDown events now because of the fact that Randy Orton's not going to be there. So, hell, that should be interesting. There we go. Bring in the main event storyline using John Cena. The reason why we watch SmackDown sometimes is because we don't want to see John Cena. But there we go, guys. Give us your thoughts on SmackDown down in the comment section below. It was a pretty crappy show. I'll give it like a D-. Just terrible SmackDown. I just can't emphasize how terrible it was. And now I'm going to leave you with the Right Honourable NJ, who's, by the way, a much better talker than Damien Sandow here on YouTube. No pressure.
Thank you very much. And all I can say now is hopefully you can give us the good points about SmackDown. Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly in the comment section below. And all I can say, well, Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, I'm off to talk to Joseph Parks. Goodbye.